friends, I am Rob, the Dungeon Tutor, and today we are making another video for RPGaDay. Oh, you're also probably catching this on my Lair of Omnisci channel where I am Omnisci, but today we're just Rob. And as I have done for the last 6 years, answering another question for RPGaDay, which is again designed to uplift and entertain and bring positive feelings to the community. By answering these questions, that is my hope. Today is the 24th day of RPGaDay, and that's the 24th question. When did you start playing the character that I have previously referenced? Kind of a downer of a question, really, because I just got a hold of Colossal, just made my first character. Ankilius is still in the middle of his first exploration movement, which just involves basically journaling. This is not a game, typically, where you are going to just blaze through it encounter after encounter after encounter. There are some that do that, but this one is not that. This is one where you use the prompts that the game mechanics gives you to detail out a story. And by having, you use cards, a deck of cards, and the cards tell you if the encounter is good, or bad, or dangerous, or safe, or beneficial. You use the cards to, when you come across a monster, to stat it out, to know if it's difficult or not. You use cards if you come across a town or a city. The cards tell you what's in it, what resources there are for you to find, and everything else is left to you to journal out and create. So it is a platform for writing prompts to get you to write an interesting story about your character's life in the Colossal. And the Colossal, again, if you are coming just fresh into this one, I've described Colossal, but basically you're humans that are either really, really tiny in a big, seemingly endless castle, or you're normal sized and this castle is absolutely enormous. And there's evidence that it was built by people who would be considered giants to you. There is some magic, because there are these giant walking towers called rooks that generally tend to smash people flat if they see them, or blow them up because many of them have magic. And they are also this resource that many of these humans rely on to live. So they get these rooks defeated, again using mostly medieval level technology. But highly trained rook hunters go out to destroy them for profit, really, because you are the main resource of importance to the people of that world. These rooks give up magical stones that power stuff. They have a huge amount of stone that can be worked and is relied upon by a lot of the people who live in this world. So it's interesting as far as a fictional premise to put your characters into. But because I've only played one exchange so far, I did the background, that took about 6 pages, talking about where my character, Ankilius, the Shaker, came from. He was a young rook hunting knight. Well, he's trying to become a knight. And he's on his very first quest from his guildmaster, which, if he completes it, involving defeating a rook or learning something about the rooks that can help the knights, he can't come back. He has to finish this to complete his mission. So that's what he's trying to do. It may be a long mission before long journey before he ever finds a rook. But when he does, he's going to be expected to try to take it down so that he can complete his mission and come back as a full knight. And you know, the knights generally have it pretty good. They're well taken care of, well equipped and everything, and their job is to go and take on some of the most dangerous creatures in the world. So, you know, it's something that Ankilius feels very much like he needs to do this. This is his duty. This is what he was raised and trained to do. And will that motivation change? Possibly. I feel one of the greatest dangers for him is that while he's really brave, he may find that there's other things of value beyond just being a knight. It may be finding other people who might persuade him that there's other better things to do than being a knight. Then maybe the orders of knights aren't necessarily the best way he can use his powers. And as one of the Hound, he's a rooksmith. He can actually take the powers of the rooks and use them to make things and benefit people, or make weapons and stuff too. He's certainly capable of that. But by doing that, he has an intrinsic value that he could apply. It all depends on how the circumstances end up. As of right now, he intends to do his mission to the best of his ability. The very first draw that I had in his exploration phase, though, has him in a combative encounter against another person, which I've determined is a rival who just himself became a knight. And he has been tasked to beat poor Ankilius, or drive him back if his resolve isn't strong enough. But if he can best him in a fight, then he's going to have to give up on being a knight, and if he can't actually go out and do it. But the thing is, here's the thing. When you go through this, I've already drawn all the cards. I know how that ends. I just have to put story to it. So I know that Ankilius meets an encounter that he easily bests. I already know the method that he's going to use to beat it. He's actually going to use his personal weapon, which is his big knight's hammer. It's a sledge capable of smashing the stones of rooks. Granted, big rooks, it's not going to do a great deal of harm, but he knows how to get in at the vulnerable points. He's been well trained. And in this case, the other person is going to spend so much time concentrating on the fear that with his helm, he's going to blow him up. He's going to try to fight him by nullifying that magical ability. Using a one-shot item, I'm not going to give Ankh at this stage in the game an item that's capable of shutting down magic. That's not something he's likely to have. But he will win that fight. And then he's going to have another fight with another NPC, or he's going to have an encounter with another NPC who wants to help him, who is totally friendly. So he may have an ally. What's the cost of this, though? That's the question. So that'll have to be determined as I come up with it. So I already have the first encounter pretty much salted away. And the motivation for it, too, is that Ankilius' mother actually gets this knight to do it. He's a rival of Ankilius anyhow and is not happy that Ankilius is now a hound and has this exalted level of power. So he would love to be able to whip him with his weapon, but Ankilius has got more determination than that, and he's actually been training very well, so he is capable of holding his own in a fight. He will win, but there's that motivation that might come out. I still haven't decided if he's going to find out that his mother is actually throwing in her own extra test to make sure that her son is worthy. Which I think is delightfully just kind of twisted, that even though his mother is this renowned knight who's been on over a score of hunts, she herself is responsible for being in hunts that have taken down over 20 of these rooks and benefited various societies and helped out the Knights of Rookfall, and she's got a lot of credit. She's still going to make sure that her son is ready and is making sure that he's having good challenges in front of him. And a chance to beat up one of his old rivals. Why not, right? So I'm already building this. This is, by these prompts, having me think about the character and give the character direction and motion, even though the grand sum total that I've played was in drawing a hand of cards to create the character, and then drawing 2 cards to tell me what he's going to meet in the first chapter of his journey, and then cards to resolve the combat that he was going to have. That's it. It's actually fairly straightforward. So, that is where my character is. Could I tell you about all my other characters? Sure, I could, but I think Ankilius and this solo RPG is going to be my success story for this year. Trying something brand new, seeing how it goes, and by the time I'm done, if I have a journal full of a really good story, who knows what I could do with that? I could file off the serial numbers and have a nice little bit of fiction that I, might do something with. It might inspire me for an adventure. And honestly, the Colossal is just such kind of a neat idea. It's fantasy, but it doesn't fit the D&D fantasy with all the different races and stuff. But it's still got that hint of the exotic. So I'm interested to see where it goes. I think it'll be fun to untap my creativity, give it a little direction, and see where it all ends up. Should be fun. So, thanks for joining me. I'm Rob. This has been another RPG a Day story. And if you like this, or you want to talk about your character, feel free to leave in the comments below. Or go to my Dungeon Tutor Facebook group. You can leave something there and we can chat about it. It might even help me make a new video. But until next time, my friends, thanks. And I hope you stick with me because there's still some more videos left to make. And until that next time, farewell.